Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the question, are Ouija boards evil?
Maybe?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know. Why are they thought it was evil?
Yeah.
Why do people, still buy them? Why can you buy them in, I was going to say Toys R Us, but I don't think those exist at all anymore.
I mean...
Why can you buy them from Hasbro?
Yeah.
Why can you buy them from the same people that make Candyland?
Yeah. Why do they have pink versions?
Yeah, if they actually summoned the dead, or not the dead, but demons. They bring demons into this world. Yeah, so there is a lot that kind of goes into, I think, this topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, more so than I thought before, I really started looking into it very much, but then, reading about it, reading different articles and stuff, it really was kind of eye-opening to me, some of the things that I just kind of, I guess, didn't realize. Before we get into talking about the Ouija boards, though, if you haven't yet, make sure you check out our merch store. We have t-shirts featuring Mr. Skullball back here, or Scully, as we like to refer to him as. He's also on our wine glasses that currently do not have wine in them. Which is really weird colored wine. Like super bright orange wine. So yeah, if you're interested in that, make sure you check it out. Also check out our Patreon. We have some perks and stuff like that. We just sent out some of our first cards and gifts and things like that. So if you're interested in goodie bags and that, we offer some different stuff over there. But it also just helps support your local creators. And of course, make sure you subscribe if you're listening to the podcast. Make sure you leave us a review. That being said, though, yeah, Kim, I'll let you kind of start off wherever you want, wherever you feel like starting off. We haven't really discussed much beforehand, so yeah, here we go.
Okay, so I was doing research on Ouija boards, and actually the whole idea of the Ouija boards came from actually doing automatic writing as a way to commune with the dead. And the first mention of automatic writing was actually in China in 1100 AD.
That's a long time ago.
That's a really long time ago.
That's
Apparently,
a whole long time ago.
They would they had a school where they would actually teach this as a form of necromancy and communion with the spirit world, so they can keep in touch with their dead loved ones. And planchette writing, which I thought was kind of fun, the Chinese word for that is Fuji. Yeah. And then it kind of it was kind of weird that, the spirit board itself, they would use, they would just write words, the letters down and stuff like that, and they would just use whatever to do the actual writing of it. And there was actually a person that patented the planchette in 1890, and he kind of created this game. And there's different rumors about how the name Ouija came up. And one of them is that it actually means good luck in ancient Egyptian, which nobody can actually verify. The other way is that they said that they actually were using the board, and they said, "What do you want to be called?" And the board spelled out Ouija. There's also no proof of that either.
And that it responded saying that Ouija meant good luck, and then the other one is that it means yes, no. Ouija. So
it means
French and
German.
Yeah, French and German. Yeah. We, of course, being yes in French, and ja being no in German. So, and let's also keep in mind that Ouija is a trademarked brand. It is a branded talking board.
Yeah.
And, during, World War I and era like that, it was very common for people to be communing with the spirits.
Yeah, because their dead loved ones died, and they wanted to talk to them.
It was literally a thing that there was not any negative connotation to.
Yeah.
You could go to church, and then after church, you could hang out with the gals and talk to dead grandpa. Like, this was literally a thing that was normal. No one
Yeah.
thought of it as being negative. No one thought of it as being demonic or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because, again, as Kim was saying, like, like spirit talking and that, goes back. And people wanted a way that was a little bit easier for the spirits to communicate.
Yeah.
Now, if you are unfamiliar, with how a Ouija board works, is essentially, it tells you are not supposed to do it by yourself. You're not supposed to do it by yourself.
They actually have to have at least 2 people to do it.
So you take your planchette, and then I think it's like up to 6 they say you can use.
Yeah.
You would each put your hand on the planchette, and then the spirit is basically supposed to then guide you towards your answer. It's basically an additional hand is kind of what it's thought, or some people think that you are channeling it through yourself.
Through yourself, yeah. They actually had done scientific studies on the use of the spirit board and how the subjects were actually involuntarily moving the board themselves.
Yes.
And that I actually have a big quote here that I can do here. It says, "The planchette is guided by unconscious muscular exertions like those responsible for table movement." Now, this was also similar to table tipping, I should add, which they considered a way to communicate with the dead as well, where the table would move, over to the right and over to the left, for yes or no.
This was Michael Faraday.
This is Terence Hines.
Okay.
It's a professor of neurology. He said, nonetheless, in both cases, the illusion of the object, table, or planchette is moving under its own control is often extremely powerful and sufficient to convince many people that spirits are truly at work. The unconscious muscle movements responsible for the moving tables and Ouija board phenomena seen at seances are examples of a class of phenomena due to what psychologists call a dissociative state.
Mm-hmm.
A dissociative state is one in which consciousness is somehow divided or cut off from some aspect of the individual's normal cognitive, motor, or sensory functions. So basically, you think you're not controlling it, but you actually are.
Right. And I mean, this is similar to how things like pendulums can work. And same with dowsing rods is the idea, the non-spiritual idea is, not that spirits are guiding it, but you yourself knows like the answers, and that's kind of what they're suggesting here. Like, you might be asking a question that you think you do not know the answer to, but subconsciously you do, and so your subconscious mind is actually leading the planchette to the answer that you didn't think you knew, but you're enlightening yourself on the answer itself. Now, of course, this wouldn't explain every instance, because there are going to be things you will ask that you would have no idea. In fact, interestingly enough, as the story goes, when he was, what was the guy's name that patented this again?
The guy that patented it was
Elijah Bond.
Elijah Bond.
Yes, they went to what was the I forget the name of the place where they were where they went to basically get it patented.
I remember this. Okay, yeah. So they go to the patent office, and the guy actually goes, "The only way I'm going to give you the patent is if this board spells out my name."
Yes.
So they break out the board, they get it all, doing the thing, and sure enough, the board spells out the patent officer's name, and he's like, "Okay, here you go.
Yep.
Here's your patent." And he was freaked out and left. Which I thought was actually a really cool story that happened.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And I was reading this too, actually. Ohio, there's a lot of spirit. In 1886 is when like the talking board became popular, and it was taking over spiritualist camps in Ohio.
Yeah.
So see, Ohio's weird.
A lot of spiritualist camps in Ohio for some reason. I guess, there's corn and spiritualists.
I feel like we're a boring state, so we tend to... I feel like you notice that, like, if like the more boring the state is, there tends to be more supernatural rumors about it. I think it's because like we want to live in a fantasy world. But like, if you go to someplace fun, like, I don't know, California or Florida, you don't see as... I mean, they have it there. Don't get me wrong. They have Alcatraz and stuff like that. But we have so many things that are just like little places, and like, oh yeah, there's a ghost story about that bridge that you've been going over for all your life. Oh, you didn't know it? Oh yeah, some woman threw her baby over it, or something like that.
Every 3 feet you go over a bridge, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a crybaby bridge."
Oh yeah.
And like, okay.
Yeah, it's hilarious how common you find that in Ohio, which it does make it better to live in this state. Because, I mean, I think everyone, especially in their teenage years, drives around to some weird area, weird road that there's supposed to be a ghost, or if you flash your headlights at it, it kills you. Or something crazy like that, you know?
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, basically this guy, and I forgot his name already again, the Kennard, yeah, Kennard, he's the one that, well, wait.
Kennard and Bond formed
Yeah.
a company called Kennard Novelty Company, and they went on to have numerous factories where they would manufacture the Ouija boards.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally had to open another factory because they were selling so many of them, because back then it was just commonplace to use them. People didn't think they were evil or bad or anything like that. That didn't really happen.
It says, with their rival boards launched and failed in 1919, Bowie sold the remaining business interest in Ouija to Fold, his prestige, for $1. The board's instant and now more than 120 years later prolonged success showed that it tapped into a weird place in American culture. It was marked as both mystical oracle and as family entertainment. Fun with an element of otherworldly excitement. And this is all from the Smithsonian's website, by the way.
Yeah.
This meant that it wasn't only spiritualists who bought the board. In fact, the people who disliked the Ouija board the most tended to be the spirit mediums, as they had just found their jobs as spiritual middlemen cut out. So, you know, people were like, oh, I'm just going to get the board and talk to the dead itself instead of going and paying this person to basically contact the dead. And I find that kind of interesting. Like, when you think of Ouija board, you probably don't think of it like hurting someone's business, but, you know, it did.
Yeah.
Especially when
why do I pay you if I can just pull out this board
Right.
and commune to the dead myself?
The Ouija board appealed to people from across the wide spectrum of ages, professions, and education. Mostly, Murch claims, because the Ouija board offered a fun way for people to believe in something. He says, people want to believe. They need to believe that something else is out there is powerful, he says. This thing is one of those things that allows them to express that belief. And I mean, that's quite obviously true. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at religion in general. That's kind of what it boils down to, as life is difficult. I need something to make the scapegoat.
Yes.
You know, and religious, if you're not or whatever, even if you do believe those things are true, you know, and whatever God it is you worship, it's still, that is like the mainstay of religion, is something else is alleviating a weight off of your shoulders.
Mm-hmm. And like these Ouija boards were very popular during the whole big movement of spiritualism, which was, you know, the 19th century. It became very popular for people to be psychic mediums and commune with the dead and do table rappings and use Ouija boards and things like that to commune with the dead. And it was just kind of commonplace to use them, especially to, you know, communicate with your loved ones that you may have lost in one of the wars that just recently happened. It became so commonplace that Norman Rockwell actually did a painting of two people using a Ouija board, which I was like dumbfounded by that, because like, you know, Norman Rockwell, you always think it's like, oh, you know, so, you know, apple pie and just, you know, very cutesy and like, you know, very all-American, and there's these two people and they're just have the board in between their legs and they're using it, and I'm just like, wow, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the guy was a good businessman, you know. It's kind of sad to think, like, death and stuff was so rampant, because also remember, like, when this was popular, like, when it really hit popularity in, like, 1910s, 1920s, like, people didn't live that long. Yeah. Like, I think the average age was, like, 50 or something like that. So people weren't living as long. A lot of kids, unfortunately, were dying and stuff like that. The World War I was raging and all, and so people wanted a way to contact the dead. Like, anything, even if you don't truly believe in something, if there's a chance that it might let you talk to that person again that you miss so much, odds are, I mean, I think they sold them for like $1 something, you know, which I don't know what that is adjusted for inflation, but it is pretty cheap.
Yeah, it is really cheap.
Which is interesting, you know. This guy saw an opportunity and he took it. You know, now you think of something like that and it's like, man, how would you market that, because there's so much negative connotation with stuff like that. But back then it was a pretty easy sale.
Yeah, the negativity only became popular in the 1970s.
Yeah.
When
1973.
When a certain little movie called The Exorcist came out.
Yep.
Where Regan and her friends were using a Ouija board, and they contacted Captain Howdy. And then, we all know how The Exorcist ended. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, after that, it just kept getting this whole negative thing where it was in all these different movies. It was in, there was one called Witch Board, which literally is a name for a Ouija board.
Yep.
What Lies Beneath was a movie that had it in it. More popular ones
So many
recently
now.
were Paranormal Activity.
Literally catches on fire.
The actual movie's called Ouija.
Yeah, only one of them's good.
And then there's also a
Origin of Evil.
like a kind of documentary-ish one called I Am Zozo, which
yeah.
if you're familiar
I've
with
not
Ghost
seen that.
Adventures and
I need
stuff
to
like
watch
that, that one is actually a fairly popular name for a demon that comes through Ouija boards is Zozo. And they've been on numerous investigations where they've actually encountered this demon
Yeah.
at these houses tormenting these people. There were also quite a few books that were actually written by the Ouija board, which I thought was kind of cool. There was one that called Jap Heron, a novel written from the Ouija board by Emily Grant Hutchings, and possibly through the use of the Ouija board, Mark Twain. That's where she said she got her information. That's who actually wrote it.
That's interesting.
Through the board was she was communing with Mark Twain from the other side. Another one is a very popular name.
And what book was that?
This was Jap Heron, a novel written from the Ouija board.
So she literally claims that she wrote this entire thing by communicating with the spirit board.
Yes.
So that, wow.
And communicating with Mark Twain through the spirit board.
So let's, for one, my God, how long would that take?
I know, right?
Is he just giving her, ideas? Or is he, telling her, word for word? Because that would take a long time.
Well, okay, so I have a little
and who
bit
helped
of
her?
A personal story with Ouija boards. So my aunt, back when she was younger, her and her friends actually would channel using an Ouija board. And I actually do have transcripts that I recently found in her stuff that actually has how they would commune.
Curiously, do you have any idea, around what time frame, what years this would have been that she was doing it? Would it have been before The Exorcist or after?
It was around the 80s.
So it would have been after. So there's already still negative connotations.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my aunt was, she could channel spirits. And she would use this Ouija board. And what would happen is they would be using the board and it would start to go to a letter. And as it was going to that letter, my aunt would start spitting out whatever word it was trying to write. And that's how they were able, one person would sit there and they would actually transcribe everything. And then they went as far as, typing it out. And, I have actual book with, scripts that they wrote out that actually happened. They would, say different things and, they would ask different questions and the spirit board would start talking and my aunt would start finishing whatever the spirit board was starting to say. And, sometimes she would just start saying things and the board wasn't even doing anything. The board just stopped at certain points. And my aunt would just start telling whoever they were communicating with, what they wanted them to hear. Yeah, and, it was actually pretty interesting because I read quite a few of the transcripts and it was just okay, this is really neat. And when my aunt was still alive, she actually did tell me that there's recordings, though unfortunately I don't know where the recordings are.
Right.
But she said that she's listened to them and her voice actually changes when she was channeling. My aunt actually had really bad breathing problems. She had asthma and stuff like that. And she would wheeze and stuff like that when she talked. When she was under a trance, when she was channeling, none of that existed. Whoever she was channeling changed her voice. Her voice would get deeper. And she wouldn't have to, as much. It would just come out and flow out of her like it was nothing. But I thought it was really neat that they actually kept transcripts of them talking to these different entities that they would talk to. I know one of them was definitely a male, and I think there was a female one that they would talk to as well. But yeah, it was actually kind of neat that.
It would be interesting. I wish, yeah, it would be cool if there's any way to find those tapes. That would be interesting to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little creepy, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's something about like I don't really find possession movies and stuff like that creepy, but there is something about like when they do it subtly and like someone's just like slight voice is changing and they're like
Mm-hmm.
under a thing. Like if that was in real life, that would be super freaky.
Back into the whole thing about books being written by psychic mediums.
Yes.
I kind of got like segued
Because that's what I
here.
was kind of saying. Like, I really wonder, like, how involved it was. And also, did she co-write this book with, like, another person, since you're really supposed to use an Ouija board with another person? I'm really curious if someone else was present. That might be unclear or unknown, but...
I think her husband might have been involved in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember. I know there's also one of the most famous was the Patience Worth. Has a lot of poetry and short stories that were written.
Patience Worth.
Patience Worth was the spirit that was coming through the talking board.
Interesting.
And Pearl Lenore Curran was the one that was actually transcribing everything and writing it for her.
Okay.
There's also William Butler Yeats and Jane Roberts and Robert Butts.
Butts.
Who communed with a spirit named Seth. And Seth is actually a very popular name that comes through spirit boards a lot of times. In fact, when I was little, my friends and I used a spirit board, and we actually got the name Seth.
Really?
That came through, yeah. Which is kind of weird that, like, I found that, and I was like, ooh, okay.
I think it's interesting, though, like, why would there be, like, certain names that really come through? And I wonder, I'm sure there's science behind that as well. There probably is, for some reason, in the brain, like, there's certain things that our minds want to spell. I mean, I guess, too, if you know that there's, because that could, I guess, go with the unconscious thing. If you have prior knowledge that Seth is a common name, you might, as they're saying, unconsciously spell a name that you know is supposed to come through. Like, it's not like you're meaning to fake evidence or anything like that, but maybe it's just something that happens. It's really interesting. You know, and there's a real gray area there, you know, what's... I mean, obviously, in the paranormal field, everything, it's like what's real, what's not. But when it comes to something like that, when it comes to something like Ouija boards, pendulums, all of that kind of stuff, and it's all subconscious stuff, be like, am I accidentally faking this, unconsciously knowing that I'm just, like, making stuff up without knowing it, or is it something, like, actually happening?
Yeah.
It's interesting. And I also feel for, like, a lot of the stuff, maybe to necessarily really truly mean something, you would almost have to have someone that knows the answer that you for sure do not.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're in a haunted location, you ask the Ouija board something and it spells out a name, you know, either A, it's who knows what, it's just nonsense. It might be a name that popped in someone's head and they're unconsciously spelling it out. Maybe you were preloaded with information, like, you know, someone named Henry haunts the train station or something, and you're in the train station, and then all of a sudden you get the name Henry, and everyone's like, oh, what's that, Henry? But, like, either someone faked it, because, I mean, let's be honest, if you have a group, especially once you get over 2 people, someone might be doing it to get a rise out of you, especially if you're teenagers.
Yeah.
But if everyone is professional and they're not trying to do that, then it could be the subconscious thing.
Yeah.
So you'd really have to have people going into a location, not knowing anything prior, and knowing that no one's looked anything up, because guess what? The thing called the internet exists. And then a person also being there that knows the people that are supposedly haunted, and also but guaranteeing that all these other people don't know. And that is, in my opinion, in this point in time, impossible to know.
Yeah.
Because you can find almost anything out. But, you know, it's very interesting.
It's really, like, really strange that...
But there would be, like,
there would be
certain times, like, let's just say that you know some people that haunt there, but maybe you don't know like weird stories or real specific details. Like maybe you get like a really specific word, like I don't know, like pickaxe or something, and you find out that that was the murder weapon that somebody got killed with, and you had never heard that story.
Yeah.
Because it's a real obscure thing, and only like a couple people know about that. Now, if that happens, that would kind of make my spidey senses tingle and be like, oh, that's a little strange.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that would definitely be a little weird. I mean, when my friends and I did stuff, we really didn't like. We were just asking stupid stuff like, who's with us right now and stuff like that. Like, we weren't actually trying to communicate with anybody in particular. We were actually in my basement of my house, which, to my knowledge at the time, was not haunted. I did not have the haunted pool table yet. I will emphasize that. So, I mean, we were just playing with it. We were just seeing what would happen, because we were just kind of curious about it. My mom had an experience with the Ouija board when she was younger that they'd actually told her that her neighbor died of, like, a heart attack or a stroke or something like that while he was, like, shoveling snow or something random like that. And it actually told her that, and she had no knowledge of it.
yeah, now that is weird, and like that's harder to explain. Yeah, it's really strange. It really is strange. But the Catholic Church is even like they've went like on record, like basically knocking it, haven't they, and stuff?
Yeah, now they're like, oh yeah, it's evil. It's part of the occult.
Yeah, the Catholic.com calls the Ouija board far from harmless, and as recently as 2011, 700 Club post Pat Robertson declared that demons can reach us through the board. Even within the paranormal community, Ouija boards enjoyed a dodgy reputation. So, I mean, what was this? What's this here? Let's see, it's Parker Brothers and later Hasbro, because they're the ones that own it now, after they acquired Parker Brothers in 1991, still sold hundreds of thousands of them, but the reason why people are buying them had changed significantly. Ouija boards were spooky rather than spiritual, with a distinct frisson of danger. So, they started off as something that was just literally used as almost common practice, like as a way to try and talk to your loved ones that have deceased, and now it's bought as almost like a dare.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let's go play with the Ouija board.
Dare you to go buy one.
Yeah, I'm gonna. And it's really funny too because like I think this is another YouTuber I was watching. He was comparing like Ouija board, which Hasbro on their website for just like a basic one, and all that comes with is the board and a real crappy plastic planchette. It's not wood or anything; it's a crappy board. They sell it for $20.
Yeah.
Candyland, again made by Hasbro, sells that for $7.99 and it has all of these extra pieces and all of this stuff. So Ouija board's more than 2 times as much. It's because they can sell it because it has this like, ooh, it's spooky.
It's that whole,
like connotation. And also I assume that not as many people are buying Ouija boards as Candyland. Maybe, I don't know. At one point, Ouija board was like one of the best selling board games. Like this was like super profitable. That's, I mean, like she said earlier, they had to build a second factory when they were making it. But you can find all kinds of cool ones in stuff now, which, we have there. And I might make little shots, put them in there if you're watching video form. If you just listen to the podcast, I always have the cool one that I bought from the haunted house garage sale thing.
Yep.
Oh no, it was really cool. It's all hand carved. Everything's wood. But yeah, so I mean, that brings us to like what the question, the title of the video: Are Ouija boards evil? And like, I think at this point we probably know what our answers are going to be. But what is your statement on that? What do you think? If someone asks you, are Ouija boards evil?
I don't think they are. I think if you use them properly, they're just another way to communicate with the dead.
Right.
But if you're abusing them and not using them properly, not closing them out, then yeah, you are inviting something unknown, not necessarily evil, but unknown, into your home.
Right. Now, I don't know. See, that's the thing too. Is a lot of people have this belief that you have to like say like how are you supposed to begin and end your like little seance session?
You're supposed to say hello, goodbye.
So you're supposed to say hello at the beginning and then you say goodbye at the end.
And
aren't you supposed to point the planchette at the goodbye?
You're supposed to point it and tell them, okay, we are done.
There is no hello on it though, right? No.
There should be.
Well, this one doesn't have a hello.
Normally on regular boards there is a hello and goodbye. I see goodbye on there, but on normal boards there's a hello and goodbye.
I'll have to look up a picture of one. But so here's the thing. Yeah, see, there's no hello on this picture right here. Honestly, I don't think I'd usually see there's yes. I don't think I usually see a hello on there. Maybe on some. I don't know. But
That's weird.
but like, I think that's interesting that there is even that connotation to it that you have to say like hello and goodbye, because generally when people are doing like an EVP recording, which in my opinion is the same thing, if you're trying to communicate with the dead, it doesn't matter if there's a piece of wood or a piece of cardboard or a piece of plastic or whatever. It's the same thing if you're communicating with it. And like, yeah, sometimes you do that, but like people aren't cautious about making sure they say hello and saying goodbye. Now sometimes you do, because like if you're actually looking for paranormal evidence and assuming that you believe in all of that stuff, which if you are asking the questions you probably do unless you're just curious, you talk like you do to a normal person.
Yeah.
But I don't ever think, oh, I forgot to say goodbye, now I'm going to be haunted. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that is still ingrained to us with Ouija boards. Probably because it is ritualistic in the fact that people had better manners 100 of years ago or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just commonplace. Like, you have to say this because that's what you say to people.
Mm-hmm.
And these are just people that you're talking to. Because no one thought they were talking to demons. I don't even think that was really a thought until something like... Well, it had to be a thought because someone thought about it when they wrote The Exorcist. Like, it had to be something in people's head, I suppose.
Yeah, they were like, oh, hey, let's take this thing and, turn it 160. And,
Yeah. But yeah, so I agree. I don't think it's any different than any other thing. But, like, there's a lot of places, like, if you go places that let you into ghost hunt specifically, they will say you're not allowed to use a Ouija board here.
Mm-hmm.
Not
a lot of haunted locations.
A lot of places.
Yeah.
Not every place, but they are like, no. And it's hilarious that literally that belief from every source I can find is strictly from The Exorcist. Mm-hmm. That is where it started.
The Exorcist.
And over years, it's become so ingrained.
And it's such a quick little scene, too. I don't even think it's 5 minutes long of them using this board and conjuring Captain Howdy. And then, all hell breaks loose and, The Exorcist happens.
Yeah.
That it took that, 5-minute thing to just turn the whole idea of something that was basically like a telephone to the dead into something just, oh no, it's demons and the devil. And
because I imagine if it was something like, say, if they had recorders back then and replaced the Ouija board with the recorder, it would be the same thing. That we would now be terrified to even, talk to them. Or if it was automatic writing, be like,
or
oh,
like
if you
a ghost
do that.
box.
Right. But, that stuff's newer because obviously that stuff wasn't around in the 70s. But I think you also have to put yourself in the mindset is The Exorcist was an extremely intense movie for that time period. Mm-hmm. It scared the shit out of people.
I mean, people walked out of it and
people fainted
were throwing up. And
that's why, it was like the thing to go see. It was in theaters for quite a while because like nothing had been basically as scary as The Exorcist. It was like the scariest movie to come out up until that time, or at least that was mainstream. Like I'm sure there's some weird art house stuff, but like people didn't really see that much. And so you go and you see something that's scary than anything you've ever seen before, and like an entire society was basically shook from this movie. Mm-hmm. And then you have a scene like that's a pretty powerful scene in a really powerful movie, and it sticks with people. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, and I've actually not seen The Exorcist in its entirety because, like, the entirety when my mom was alive and stuff, she would not let The Exorcist be played in her home. She was terrified that a demon would come through the television or something. She would not allow the movie to even be within. And we liked horror movies. Like, we had horror movie night. We watched classics and stuff like that. It was just specifically The Exorcist and stuff that was super based in, like, with demons and stuff. Yeah. And she wasn't even that religious. Like, she was a little bit, but, like, she was just so scared of it. Because, she would have been alive, like, in the 70s. Yeah. And so she would have been, like, young teenager, I think. I forget the exact years, but yeah, she would have been really young when it came out, but still, like, but her mom, would have been older, and I'm sure that my grandma really ingrained that. So it's just kind of funny how stuff trickles, and now we're, 40 years later or whatever, and it's still something that people are terrified of.
Yeah.
We have never used one ghost hunting. I would like to try it. The only thing is that people have such this thing about it. Mm-hmm. So I think that, I would be open to trying it. Would you be open to trying it?
Yeah, as long as we controlled it and, did the proper, openings and closings and stuff like that, I'd be for it.
Right, which I'll follow the rules. Not that I
Yeah.
necessarily am, like, scared to not, but, like, you know, whatever. If you're going to do the thing, do it right. But I think it would be a good thing to try, like, when we go to, like, the outside places and stuff, and we're not with other groups, because I am scared that if there's multiple people, like some of our ghost hunting friends, because it's usually just me and Kim that go places, but we will meet with other people.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want them to, like, throw a fit about it or something. But if it's just me and you, we wouldn't really have to ask anybody else. But, yeah, that's the only thing is... Because, I mean, I bought this thing, and it's super cool. You know, but we have never. It's just been back here the whole time. So we've never actually used it.
Yeah.
So let's get some demons in there. I say, let's summon. What's his name? Seth, or maybe Zuzu, whatever the demon's name is. Just kidding. I don't really want to
Captain
summon
Howdy.
demons. Yeah.
Pazuzu.
Yeah.
Because that's actually what Captain Howdy's name was. Is Pazuzu was the demon's name in The Exorcist.
Right. But also, let us know in the comments, have you ever messed with one? Have you ever had anything freaky happen? If you have, you know, feel free to, you can comment about it, or if you're watching on YouTube, if you know, if you're on the podcast, you can comment, or you can also, we always have all of our social media links, even like the website where you can fill out the form and email us. I don't know if I have the exact email that's always in the links, but it's spiritlightfilms@gmail.com. Yeah, and let us know your stories. You can also just message us on Facebook if you would like us to feature an episode. We would like to do an episode where we tell people's ghost stories, but it's hard to get people to actually interact. And like every single Facebook group, they're basically like Nazis about it. Like they're like, that's advertisement. If you even say, hey, I have a YouTube channel, tell us your story so we can discuss it. Like no Facebook group will allow it.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard, being a smaller channel as we are, to really get good feedback and good responses from people when it comes to looking for like, you know, community interaction, stuff like that. And would you be interested in like seeing a video where me and Kim use the Ouija board at a location? You know, we'd like take the camera, because we have two now, which will be nice as two. You know, we can just like have it sitting there and just like filming us as we sit in some creepy place and see if we can summon something awful or communicate with, you know, just a normal spirit. I think it would be interesting. And yeah. Also, if you have a haunted place you want us to come investigate that you own, if even if it's just your house and you want us to film, make an episode, let us know, because we're trying to find more places to investigate. We want to investigate places right now, but it's winter, and like we said, it has to be an inside place, and most places don't have heat, and I'm only willing to do so much.
Yeah. The snow is just... Ugh.
It's real bad. If you live in Ohio as well and you're watching this, I'm sorry. If you live in a nice state, I envy you. I truly do.
Heck, even some of the nice states are really cold. Like Florida, they had like 50 degrees
Oh, no.
days. I know, I'm like, poor babies. They were wearing winter coats and
Oh,
stuff.
I'm sure
and I'm like,
they were.
come on. That's like hoodie weather here.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, just throw the
Awful.
hoodie on. We're fine.
But, yes. Thank you very much for watching and listening. It really helps us, even if you don't want to do the other stuff mentioned at the beginning, like the Patreon and that. And I recommend you check it out. Kind of see. Also, we do have like the YouTube thing where it's like $4.99 a month, and like you get little stickers and stuff. But it really just helps support us. But yeah, check that stuff out. But as always, it just really makes sure that you subscribe. You leave us a review on the podcast if you're doing that. You know, subscribe to whatever podcasting you listen to, so you get those things automatically downloaded. And also make sure you like the video and ring that notification bell, so you don't miss any future episodes. Because again, right now we've been focusing more on the podcast, just because we're not outside, we're not able to do the other videos we like to, and there's no haunted houses open right now to review, so we're kind of trying to think of videos to do. So if you have recommendations on that, we would love to hear them as well. Thank you very much for watching and or listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.